John Fredericks Radio Network. Joining me now, we ran out of time last time, yesterday, was it 24 hours ago? John McGuire. John is running for Congress. He is in the 7th District. That's the next drive-by McDonald's whacked convention. I hate these conventions. And that is in the 7th District. This convention will be, it's on July 18th in Doswell by Old Dominion. So you drive there and you get a McDonald's hamburger and drop your ballot in the box. And he's got a little spring in his step after Nick Freitas didn't file his paperwork on time. But we got some other questions to ask him. You heard Nick yesterday. We're going to get his reaction. I think it's a two-person race, Freitas or McGuire. Sorry, Tina, you're not going to win, and neither is Andrew Naggs. So it's McGuire or Freitas in my view. My view. So, John, welcome.
Hey, good morning, John. I just want to echo what you said about Rob Whitman. I mean, that guy, he's right on target. This is outrageous. And it tells me that the Democratic Party, they don't care about us. They care about winning elections and that mail-in ballot. Totally agree with you.
I tell you what, Whitman is a beast. I mean, he's got his own style. He doesn't jump up and down. But that's why I've had him on my show every week for years and years, because the guy is really good. And when you're married to a school teacher for 40 years, come on, man. I mean, Catherine has got to be going bananas in there because she cares about her kids and they're not learning. All right, John, you heard Nick Freitas yesterday on the John Fredericks Show talking about the whole issue with not filing on time, et cetera. I just wanted to get your reaction to that.
Well, my reaction is Spanberger probably loved it. I think that not turning your paperwork in one time is just unbelievably ridiculous. Twice, I got a phone call on Friday saying that Nick didn't turn his paperwork, and I thought I was being punked. And then, of course, we shared a Washington Post story on our social media. Next thing you know, it's fake news, we're lying, and then all weekend we're listening to all this blame other people stuff. But I couldn't say it better than you did yesterday. I thought you did a great job getting him to accept personal responsibility. Of course, it took a while, but a leader takes responsibility, good or bad, for what the team does. I mean, if you're the candidate, you're the candidate. So I think it's unbelievable. I just would say that they're not organized, they're not disciplined, and Spanberger is going to eat them for lunch. So we need a candidate that has discipline and is organized that can win this race, and I'm quite certain that's me.
John, the Freitas campaign is telling me they did a poll and they're ahead by 30 points. That's a pretty big margin. What is your pathway to win this race?
Well, first of all, I'd say I'd love to see who did that poll, because that's laughable. Because you said I had a spring in my step, and you're absolutely right about that, John. I had a spring in my step last week because I promise you we have the most disciplined professional team in this race. And we know what the numbers are, and we are actually leading. How in any possible fantasy land he could have even a 1-point lead would be ridiculous. When he was running around, palling around with people in the swamp, getting endorsements outside the district, we were getting endorsements in the district. And we while he was doing that, we worked hard. We filed over 50% of the delegate count in 6 out of the 10 counties. And that includes Henrico County, which is where Spanberger lives and where she defeated Dave Bratt. They say we set a new delegate record there, and I'm not even running for governor. And they're saying I got more delegates than people who run for governor. So 30%, laughable.
One advantage you have is your general campaign consultant, Chris Lasavitas. This guy's been winning conventions, but he doesn't rig them. He just wins them the right way, which is, what I told the Freitas campaign at the beginning. The biggest fear they got is, I said you got two issues. One, John McGuire's work ethic is legendary. The guy works 20 hours a day. We've seen that on the campaign trail, and Lasavita is behind the scenes, but he's won a lot of conventions in his day. But he doesn't do it the Chris Shore's way. He does it the old-fashioned way. He gets more delegates than the other people without rigging it. So, those are two advantages that you have, no question. But look, I just got a text here from someone. This is a tweet from Branda Jarvis, who says, there has been another GOP paperwork mishap in the 7th District. McGuire, that's you, failed to properly file his 2020 financial disclosure form with the House of Representatives by May 15th. The rules for filing are below if you do not trust me. True or false?
First of all, I want to say that our republic, I'm concerned. We're in the fight of our life. I mean, this politics is serious business, and we've got to have the right candidate. You've got to be organized and disciplined. Now, on that paperwork thing, look, Nick didn't file his paperwork last year. All over national news, it was a joke. And unbelievably, he did it again. I filed that paperwork, so I don't know who that guy is or what his text message is about, but we filed our paperwork. But I'm telling you, we are in the fight of our life right now. I mean, this is serious business. And if you're going to go up against Spanberger, you've got to be ready for the major league. And you said yesterday that Spanberger is going to be the toughest. It's going to be the toughest race in the country.
Oh, yeah.
And it is. It's going to be the toughest race for Spanberger because I'm going to work on that. I'm going to hold her feet to the fire on the impeachment every day. I'm going to go after her every day for about 90-some% of the time with Nancy Pelosi. She's tried to stop USMCA all the time and rather focus on impeachment. I'm going to go after her that when President Trump tried to have the travel ban in China because of the pandemic, she was calling him a racist and everything else. So it is going to be a tough race. It's going to be a tough race for Spanberger. And you probably know in the General Assembly, my nickname is Pitbull. It's because I do work hard. I've been to 244 different churches in 3 years. I've knocked on every apartment door and everywhere else. In 2017, the newspaper said McGuire was immune to the blue wave. It wasn't by luck. It was a lot of hard work. And then last November, I had the second largest win in Virginia, and I won the precincts in Henrico County that Dave Bratt lost. And that's where Spanberger lives, and that's her strong point. And all of our opponents in this race right now are going to tell you that they can win a general election in Henrico County where Spanberger lives, but none of them have ever done that, and I've done that twice. And the reason is I was born and raised there my whole life. My wife and I raised 5 incredible children in Henrico, and I have a 21-year business there with thousands of clients. How anyone couldn't see that we represent almost half of the 7th Congressional District already, Henrico, Goochland, Louisa, and Spotsylvania. And I've been told that our district is the only one in Virginia that's become more red every year for the past 3 years. There's no one else in the race can say that. So, my nickname is Pitbull. I got my foot on the gas, and we're going to win.
John McGuire with us, House of Delegates member running for Congress, 7th District, Virginia. Want a little extra time today. We ran out yesterday, so we gave it to him. Always happy to accommodate anybody that wants time on the John Fredericks Radio Network. You just get to us. We'll try to fit you in. As everyone knows, all sides of the aisle. We try to accommodate everybody. But, John, let's get to the liberal women of Chesterfield, right? Chesterfield is what put really Spanberger over the top. Dave couldn't really get his vote out there. There's a whole group that started. What would be your message to the moms in Chesterfield that voted for Spanberger? Why should they change in 2020 and vote for you?
Well, I've been campaigning very hard in all 10 counties, and I've built an army in all 10 counties. And you probably remember Paul Nardo with the General Assembly in 2017, 2018. Mm-hmm. He said, largest attended swearing-in ceremony in the history of the General Assembly. A good leader brings people together. And what I'm going to say to them is this, Spanberger told you she was a moderate. Do you still believe that's true?
No, that's an absolute lie.
Absolutely. In fact, my clients, my business friends that are Democrats laugh when I say that she ran as a moderate. She said, I think Americans and I think people in the 7th Congressional District are sick and tired of politicians that say one thing in the district and then go to Washington, D.C. and do something else, and she's exactly one of those people. And so I'm going to say, hey, and I think what Rob Whitman said about education and not starting school normally in the fall and how that's going to hurt children, I don't think even the liberal women of Chesterfield are going to stand for that. I mean, we could just go on and on about the destruction and the lack of law and order in our country right now. And, ripping down monuments. I mean, they're going after civil rights monuments, Columbus monuments, Civil War monuments. They're trying to destroy the American culture. And I want to promote American exceptionalism. I want to promote the American flag and patriotism. Our country, our history, like we talked about yesterday, shows how far we've come. And history should be taught, not erased. But like I said, Abigail will not sleep if I'm the nominee. No one works harder. I think we're in the fight of our life, and I'm really concerned for our republic, and I'm really concerned that our children will have less freedom than you and I had when we grew up. So I won't slack on you, I promise.
Well, I think there's cause for pause in this protest debate when protesters in Portland, Oregon, tear down the statue of Thomas Jefferson. I think that is now giving people, they're saying, okay, wait a minute. Like, I get the Lee thing, right? I get Stonewall Jackson. Like, I get it. I get Jeff Davis. I get it. People get it. But now you're tearing down Thomas Jefferson, and of course Washington is next, and I guess Lincoln after that, and I guess Adams and Hamilton and anything else we might have around, because you're going to find flaws with all the founding fathers, right? Ben Franklin, I guess we tear him down. The next thing is take them off the currency. I saw somebody said that on CNN that we had to. If Biden wins, that there would be a Treasury Secretary that would take all the Washington and Hamilton and all that off of bills, and it would be other people. I don't know who. Harriet Tubman is one that was mentioned. But people look at this, John, and they're like, okay, I get it, but where does it end? We had somebody on MSNBC the other day, an elected official, councilwoman somewhere, say, or somebody running for Congress said that if she was in there, the first thing she'd do is, I think, present a bill to wipe out Mount Rushmore. So where does this end?
Well, it doesn't. And see, the thing is, I think, radicals, their plan is if you can destroy your pride in our country, you can destroy our country. And, for example, I saw a video where they were at one of these rallies, and somebody was carrying an American flag. And they said, why are you carrying that American flag? And he said, because I love our country. And they said, don't you realize that they killed all the Indians and they are racist? Basically trying to say that the American flag stood for genocide and racism. They're trying to destroy the American culture. We're in the fight of our life. It's a heck of a culture war we're in. But again, I'm a warrior. I'm a pit bull. And I'm the right one for the job. And I'll do everything I can to protect the values of our country.
How are you going to beat Nick Freitas in this convention? There's no question he's in the lead. He also has filed a lot of delegates. A lot of people think he's going to win on the first ballot. If he does, it's over. But if you get to if there is a second ballot, how do you beat him? Because you don't have perpetual rounds of voting. You have the ranked system, which means that whatever Nick gets on the first ballot, he can't ever go below that. So let's say he gets 44%, 42%. You never go under that. You can only go up from there. So how do you beat him? If you don't beat him on the first ballot, how do you beat him if he's got 42, 43% on the first ballot?
Sure. So remember, I know it's the method they chose, convention. And the reason conservatives choose conventions, whether you like them or not, is so that you get a candidate with 50% plus one of the vote. That's a majority. And that's why at a convention they have vote after vote after vote until somebody gets a majority. It's called majority voting, which is 50% plus one. Now, I'm just going to tell you, I'm not a gambler, but I guarantee you with our data, we're ahead of Nick on the first ballot. He can live in whatever fantasy land he wants, but with my work ethic that I have, promise you I got more than him. But people may change their minds. It's possible. But it should be, we all signed up to 50% plus one. That's the reason you do conventions. So you get the most amount of conservatives, gives you the strongest candidate to go against Abigail Spanberger in November. If they were to make a situation where only 30% of the vote gets the nomination, that would go against why you would even do a convention. That'd be like changing the rules in the middle of the game. So whoever it is, they should be 50% plus one. And I believe it's going to be me. Like I said, I'm giving it all I got all the way. But
is it 50% plus one? Is that a done deal, or is that still being debated?
Well, if it is debated, I would say that's changing the rules in the middle of the game.
But right now, the way it works is this is very this is why I hate conventions, right? Just have a primary, and there's a winner, and you move on. Okay, but now here's more convoluted McDonald's convention rules. This is very hard for people to understand. It's called ranked voting. So ranked voting means you have 5 candidates, I think. I don't even know how many there are, 5. So you have X candidates. Let's say you vote for John McGuire. John McGuire is your first choice. Then you have to vote second, third, fourth, right down the line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you vote John McGuire, Nick Freitas, Tina Ramirez, Andrew Naggs. So you have ranked balloting. If the first ballot somebody doesn't get 50% plus one, right? Then whatever their percentage is, that stays. So let's say you got 40 and Nick got 40. It's even. You both can't go down from there. Then
Right.
they say, okay, who is the candidate that gets last? Let's say that right now, if you look at the polls, Andrew Nags. Nags goes. So let's say Nags got 10%. Then they take who voted for Andrew Nags, who is their second choice. Those that voted for Freitas go into his column. Those that voted for McGuire go to his column. So let's say he got 8% and it's split 4-4. Now it's 44 each. Those numbers never go down. Now they get to candidate number 3, drops out, and that's Tina Freitas because she's not 44%. Then they take her second choice, right? And then it goes from there. So it's all one ballot, but it's a very convoluted system. It's ranked voting, and so you got to get first and you got to get second. And the only way third matters, third wouldn't even matter, would it? Because it's people get knocked off.
So, John, it is complicated. One of the things that Nick did is he voted in the General Assembly for ranked choice voting in a general election. Conservatives don't generally go for that, but in a convention, that's different. In a convention, you want to get 50% plus one because you have multiple candidates. So the thing is, you want a majority vote. So at a convention, you'd have one vote, and if the top guy got 30%, you'd have a second vote and a third vote until somebody got 50% plus one. So I do know, so you want to have the stronger candidate. Obviously, if someone gets 30% support, that's not as strong as someone who has 50% plus one support, which again is the purpose of getting a majority vote at convention.
No, look, I'm for the majority vote. I'm just explaining the difference between ranked voting because in a normal convention atmosphere, you have a vote. If nobody gets 50% plus one, you have a second vote, and the bottom person drops off, but it starts over. Everything starts over. You start from scratch again. Don't do that with ranked voting. Whatever your number is, it's your high water mark. It never goes down. And so if you're a delegate, who you choose to be number 2 or number 3, it has tremendous impact as people drop out. I got to go. John McGuire, I'm out of time. People want more info. Where do they go?
Go to our website. It's McGuire, number 4, Congress.com. That's McGuire, and the number 4, Congress.com. John, thanks a lot.